भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शत स्मर भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शत स्मर भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शत स्मर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शत स्मर भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोक्षरस बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपनु गौरिया गुरु वार्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम छय रस ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hari Bol, Raseshwari Mataji and Yashji, Dandavat Pranams, Madhavi Didi, Rup Manjari Didi, Rohit Radha Krishnan Ji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to all of you. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedus Tang Sarva Bhutta Hridaya Munimanatosmi. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Shrinvatang Swakatha Krishna Pushavana Kirtana Hridantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhunoti Suhrit Satam. Nashta Prayeshvavadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina. Iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay kshiptashtakama ditaranga madhe. Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Sharmaji. All right, so I just asked a question in our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam WhatsApp group. I had an idea to, so remember before I was mentioning that I was going to read a chapter of, from Srila Prabhupada's purports, and then go back and then read Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purports, and just keep on going back and forth like that. But then I thought it might, I thought it might not be, it might be nice just to flow through all of Srila Prabhupada's purports, because Srila Prabhupada's purports end at the 13th chapter. And so I thought maybe we could just, so this morning I thought maybe let's just go straight through all of Srila Prabhupada's purports till the end, till the 13th chapter, and then start over again with, and then read from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purports from the beginning, and then continue all the way till the 12th canto. Rupanjari Didi wrote a comment I didn't 100% understand. He said that Krishna grows up too quickly already. I didn't totally understand that. Were you thinking that like it's okay if we go really slow and go through all the commentaries, like right now with Srila Prabhupada's, or I didn't understand that? Okay, you liked the original idea better. Okay. Yeah, so let's do. We have two options, and I'll go with the majority vote. So far we have, I think. Okay, so there's two options. Everybody, let me know in the comments. And already we have two for wanting to go through just to Srila Prabhupada's purports and then start from the beginning again. And then we have the other option to go slowly with all different commentaries all at once. So keep on going over the same chapter again. So let me know what you think, and I'll go with whatever the majority of you want. All right, so there are two options. Let me know what you think. Manjari Didi likes the original idea, so we can go through, relish each chapter slowly, and then we can slow down. Okay, so yeah, everybody let me know. Rup Manjari Didi's on the side of going through all really slowly, and then Jayashri and Raseshwari Mataji. Okay, Rohit Radhakrishna. Okay, maybe we're going to do the Rohit Radhakrishnas and go through each chapter very slowly. So, okay. I think right now it's tied. It's on 2 for going slowly, 2 for going through Srila Prabhupada's purports, and then starting over again. So it's tied right now. Let's see. Okay, we have a short reading today, only less than 4,000 words, and so I'm just, because there's a gap of a day, I'm just going to read all the translations to the point we're up to, just to, yeah. So King Parikshit said, "My dear Lord, partly describe the dynasties of both the moon god and the sun god, with the exalted and wonderful character of their kings. O best of Munis, you have also described the descendants of Yadu, who are very pious and strictly adherent to religious principles. Now, if you will, kindly describe the wonderful, glorious activities of Lord Vishnu, or Krishna, who appeared in that Yadu dynasty with Baladev, his plenary expansion. The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character from the beginning to the end of his life. Glorification of the Supreme," this is a very important verse, "glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those who are those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except the butcher, or one who is killing himself? Taking the boat to Krishna's lotus feet, my grandfather Arjuna and others crossed the ocean of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in which such commanders as Bhishmadev resembled great fish that could very easily have swallowed them. By the mercy of Lord Krishna, my grandfathers crossed this ocean, which was very difficult to cross, as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. Because my mother surrendered unto Lord Krishna's lotus feet, the Lord, Sudarshan Chakra in hand, entered her womb and saved my body. The body of the last remaining descendant of the Kurus and Pandavas was almost destroyed by the fiery weapon of Ashwatthama. Lord Shri Krishna, appearing within and outside of all materially embodied beings by his own potency in the forms of eternal time, that is, as Paramatma and as Virat Rup, gave liberation to everyone, either as cruel death or as life. Kindly enlighten me by describing his transcendental characteristics. My dear Shukadev Goswami, you have already explained that Sankarshan, who belongs to the second quadruple, appeared as the son of Rohini, named Balaram. If Balaram was not transferred from one body to another, how is it possible that he was born in the womb of Devaki and then in the womb of Rohini? Kindly explain this to me. Why was Balaram first in the womb of Devaki and then how was he transferred to the womb of Rohini? Why did Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, leave the house of his father Vasudeva and transfer himself to the house of Nanda? And where did the Lord, the master of the Yadu dynasty, live with his relatives in Vrindavan? Lord Krishna lived both in Vrindavan and in Mathura. What did he do there? Why did he kill Kaṁsa, his mother's brother? Such killing is not at all sanctioned in the Shastras. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no material body, yet he appears as a human being. For how many years did he live with the descendants of Vrishni? How many wives did he marry? And for how many years did he live in Dwarka? O great sage who know everything about Krishna, please describe in detail all the activities of which I have inspired and also those of which I have not, for I have full faith and am very eager to hear of them. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Sutta Goswami said, O son of Bhrigu, Shonak Rishi. After Shukadev Goswami, the most respectable devotee, the son of Vyasadeva, heard the pious questions of Maharaj Parikshit, he thanked the king with great respect. Then the discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali. Srila Shukadev Goswami said, O your majesty, O best of all saintly kings, because you are greatly attracted to topics of Vasudeva, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding, which is the only true goal for humanity. Because that attraction is unceasing, it is certainly sublime. The Ganges emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listen. Once, when Mother Earth was overburdened by hundreds of thousands of military phalanxes and various conceited demons dressed like kings, she approached Lord Brahma for relief. Mother Earth assumes the form of a cow. Very much distressed, with tears in her eyes, she appeared before Lord Brahma and told him about her misfortune. Thereafter, having heard of the distress of Mother Earth, Lord Brahma, with Mother Earth and all the other demigods, approached the shore of the ocean of milk. After reaching the shore of the ocean of milk, the demigods worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the master of the whole universe. the supreme God of all gods, who provides for everyone and diminishes everyone's suffering. With great attention, they worshipped Lord Vishnu, who lies on the ocean of milk, by reciting the Vedic mantras known as the Purusha Sukta. While in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods, "O demigods, hear from me the order of Kshirodakshay Vishnu, the Supreme Person, and execute it attentively without delay." Lord Brahma informed the demigods, "Before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons of the Yadus." The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who has full potency, will personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Therefore, all the wives of the demigods should also appear in order to satisfy him. The foremost manifestation of Krishna is Sankarshan, who is known as Ananta. He is the origin of all incarnations within this material world. Previous to the appearance of Lord Krishna, this original Sankarshan will appear as Baladev, just to please the Supreme Lord Krishna in his transcendental pastimes. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami continued, "After thus advising the demigods and pacifying Mother Earth, the very powerful Lord Brahma, who is the master of all other Prajapatis, and is therefore known as Prajapatipati, returns to his own abode, Brahmaloka. Formerly, Shurasen, the chief of the Yadu dynasty, had gone to live in the city of Mathura. There he enjoyed the places known as Mathura and Shurasen. Since that time, the city of Mathura had been the capital of all the kings of the Yadu. The city and district of Mathura are very intimately connected with Krishna, for Lord Krishna lives there eternally. Some time ago, Vasudeva, who belongs to the demigod family, or the Shura dynasty, married Devaki. After the marriage, he mounted his chariot to return home with his newly married wife. Kaṁsa, the son of King Ugrasena, in order to please his sister Devaki, occasion of her marriage, took charge of the reins of the horses and became the chariot driver. He was surrounded by hundreds of golden chariots. Devaki's father, King Devaki, was very much affectionate to his daughter. Therefore, while she and her husband were leaving home, he gave her a dowry of 400 elephants nicely decorated with golden garlands. He also gave 10,000 horses, 1,800 chariots, and 200 very beautiful young maidservants, fully decorated with ornaments. O beloved son, Maharaj Parikshit, when the bride and bridegroom were ready to conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums all vibrated in concert for their auspicious departure. While Kaṁsa, controlling the reins of the horses, was driving the chariot along the way, an unembodied voice addressed him. "You foolish rascal! The 8th child of the woman you are carrying will kill you." Kaṁsa was a condemned personality in the Bhoja dynasty because he was envious and sinful. Therefore, upon hearing this omen from the sky, he caught hold of his sister's hair with his left hand and took up his sword with his right hand to sever her head from her body. Wanting to pacify Kaṁsa, who was so cruel and envious that he was shamelessly ready to kill his sister, the great soul Vasudeva, who is to be the father of Krishna, spoke to him in the following words. Vasudeva said, "My dear brother-in-law, Kaṁsa, you are the pride of your family, the Bhoja dynasty, and great heroes praise your qualities. How could such a qualified person as you kill a woman, your own sister, especially on the occasion of her marriage? O great hero, one who takes birth is sure to die, for death is born with the body. One may die today or after hundreds of years, but death is sure for every living entity. When the present body turns to dust and is again reduced to 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the proprietor of the body, the living being, automatically receives another body of material elements according to his fruitive activities. When the next body is obtained, he gives up the present body. Just as a person traveling on the road rests one foot on the ground and then lifts the other, or as a worm on a vegetable transfers itself to one leaf and then gives up the previous one, the conditioned soul takes shelter of another body and then gives up the one he had before. Having experienced the situation by seeing or hearing about it, one contemplates and speculates about that situation, and thus one surrenders to it, not considering his present body. Similarly, by mental adjustments, one dreams at night of living under different circumstances, in different bodies, and forgets his actual position. Under this same process, one gives up his present body and accepts another. Tata dehantara praptihi. At the time of death, according to the thinking, feeling, and willing of the mind, which is involved in fruitive activities, one receives a particular body. In other words, the body develops according to the activities of the mind. Changes of body are due to the flickering of the mind, for otherwise the soul could remain in its original spiritual body. When the luminaries in the sky, such as the moon, the sun, and the stars, are reflected in liquids like oil or water, they appear to be of different shapes, sometimes round, sometimes long, and so on, because of the movements of the wind. Similarly, when a living entity, the soul, is absorbed in materialistic thoughts, he accepts various manifestations as his own identity because of ignorance. In other words, one is bewildered by mental concoctions of agitation from the material modes of nature. Therefore, since envious, impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should anyone, for an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or in the next. As your younger sister, this poor girl Devaki is like your own daughter and deserves to be affectionately maintained. You are merciful, and therefore you should not kill her. Indeed, she deserves your affection. Shukadeva Goswami continued, O best of the Kuru dynasty, Kaṁsa was fiercely cruel and was actually a follower of the Rakshasas. Therefore, he could be neither pacified nor terrified by the good instructions given by Vasudeva. He did not care about the results of sinful activities, either in this life or in the next. When Vasudeva saw that Kaṁsa was determined to kill his sister Devaki, he thought to himself very deeply. Considering the imminent danger of death, he thought of another plan to stop Kaṁsa. As long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person must try to avoid death. This is the duty of every embodied person. But if death cannot be avoided in spite of one's endeavors, a person facing death commits no offense. Vasudeva considered, by delivering all my sons to Kaṁsa, who is death personified, I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kaṁsa will die before my sons take birth, or, since he is already destined to die at the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. For the time being, let me promise to hand over my sons so that Kaṁsa will give up this immediate threat, and, if in due course of time Kaṁsa dies, I shall have nothing to fear. When a fire, for some unseen reason, leaps over one piece of wood and sets fire to the next, the reason is destiny. Similarly, when a living being accepts one kind of body and leaves aside another, there is no other reason than unseen destiny. After thus considering the matter as far as his knowledge would allow, Vasudeva submitted his proposal to the sinful Kaṁsa with great respect. Vasudeva's mind was full of anxiety because his wife was facing danger, but in order to please the cruel, shameless, and sinful Kaṁsa, he externally smiled and spoke to him as follows. Are we starting from 54? I think we are, yes. Okay, 54. Okay, we got our majority vote. We totally got our majority vote. All right, so we're going to go through it slowly. Slowly wins. Okay. Okay, text 54. But I'm warning you guys, it's going to be very slow, like very, very slow. So, okay. Shri Vasudeva Vacha Na hyasyaste bhayam somya yadvaisaha shariravak putran samarpayashyesya yataste bhayam uttitam. Vasudeva said, O best of the sober, you have nothing to fear from your sister Devaki because of what you have heard from the unseen omen. The cause of death will be her sons. Therefore, I promise that when she gives birth to the sons from whom your fear has arisen, I shall deliver them all unto your hands. Sorry, anyways. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Kaṁsa feared Devaki's existence because of her eighth pregnancy. Kaṁsa feared Devaki's existence because after her eighth pregnancy, she would give birth to a son who would kill him. Vasudeva, therefore, to assure his brother-in-law the utmost safety, promised to bring him all the sons. He would not wait for the eighth son, but from the very beginning would deliver to the hands of Kaṁsa all the sons to which Devaki would give birth. This was the most liberal proposition offered by Vasudeva to Kaṁsa. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sasurvadhan Nivavrite Kaṁsastar Vakyasharavit Vasudevo Pitang Pritaha Prashasya Pravishad Griham. Shukadeva Goswami continued, Kaṁsa agreed to the logical arguments of Vasudeva, and having full faith in Vasudeva's words, he refrained from killing his sister. Vasudeva, being pleased with Kaṁsa, pacified him further and entered his own house. Purport. Although Kaṁsa was a sinful demon, he believed that Vasudeva would never deviate from his word. The character of a pure devotee like Vasudeva is such that even so great a demon as Kaṁsa firmly believed in his words and was satisfied. Yasyasi bhaktir bhagavata kinchana sarvar gunas tatra samasate sura. That's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5:18-12. All good attributes are present in a devotee, so much so that even Kaṁsa believed in Vasudeva's words without a doubt. Ata kala upavrite devaki sarva devata putram prasushuve chashto kanyam chaivanuvatsaram. Each year, therefore, in due course of time, Devaki, the mother of God and all the demigods, gave birth to a child. Thus she bore 8 sons, one after another, and a daughter named Subhadra. Purport. The spiritual master is sometimes glorified as Sarva Deva Moyo Guru. That's Bhagavatam 11:7-27. By the grace of the Guru, the spiritual master, one can understand the different kinds of devas. The word deva refers to God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original source of all the demigods, who are also called devas. In Bhagavad Gita 10:2, the Lord says, Ahang adir hi devanam. I am the source of all the devas. The Supreme Lord, Vishnu, the original person, expands in different forms. Tad aikshata bahusyam, that's Chandogya Upanishad 6.2.3. He alone has expanded into many. Advaitam achuttam anadam anantarupam, that's Brahma Samhita 5.33. There are different grades of forms, known as Swangsha and Vibhinangsha. The Swangsha expansions, or Vishnu Tattva, are the Supreme Personality of God, whereas the Vibhinangsha are Jiva Tattva, who are part and parcel of the Lord, Maivang Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. If we accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worship Him, all the parts and expansions of the Lord are automatically worshipped. Sarvarhanam Achuteja. That's Bhagavatam 4:31-14. Krishna is known as Achyuta, Senayor Ubayor Madhe Ratang Stapayame Chuta. By worshipping Achyuta, Krishna, one automatically worships all the demigods. There is no need of separately worshipping either Vishnu Tattva or Jiva Tattva. If one concentrates upon Krishna, one worships everyone. Therefore, because Mother Devaki gave birth to Krishna, she is described here as Sarva Devata. Kirtimantam pratamajam Kaṁsyaya nakadundubhi arpayam asakritrena sonritad ati vivala. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son, named Kirtiman, into the hands of Kaṁsa. He even had a name. That's so sad. Purport. In the Vedic system, as soon as a child is born, especially a male child, the father calls for learned Brahmins, and according to the description of the child's horoscope, the child is immediately given a name. This ceremony is called Namkaran. There are 10 different samskars, or reformatory methods, adopted in the system of Varnashram Dharma, and the name-giving ceremony is one of them. Although Vasudeva's first son was to be delivered into the hands of Kaṁsa, the Namkaran ceremony was performed, and thus the child was named Kirtiman. Such names are given immediately after birth. All right, so Krishna's eldest brother's name is Kirtiman. King dusaham nusadhunam vidusham kim apekshitam kim akaryam kadaryanam dustyajam kim tritatmanam. What is painful for saintlies who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? Purport. Since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kaṁsa, one might ask what the need was for Vasudeva to deliver the firstborn child. The answer is that Vasudeva had promised Kaṁsa that he would deliver all the children born of Devaki. Kaṁsa, being an asura, did not believe that the eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any of the children of Devaki. Vasudeva, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kaṁsa every child, whether male or female. From another point of view, Vasudeva and Devaki were very pleased when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, would come as their eighth son. Vasudeva, a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Krishna appear as a son from the eighth pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly so that the eighth turn would come and Krishna would appear. He begot one child every year so that Krishna's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. Drishtva samatvam tachore sraiva vyavastitim Kaṁsas tushta manarajan prahasan idam abravit. My dear King Parikshit, when Kaṁsa saw that Vasudeva, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. Purport. The word samatvam is very significant in this verse. Samatvam refers to already who is always equipoised, unaffected by either happiness or distress. Vasudeva was so steadily equipoised that he did not seem in the least agitated when delivering his firstborn child into the hands of Kaṁsa to be killed. In Bhagavad Gita 256, it is said, Dukeshvanudvigna mana, sukeshu vigata spriha. In the material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should one be very much disturbed by material distress. Lord Krishna advised Arjuna, Matra sparshas tukonteya shitoshna sukadukadha agama payano nityas tangs tatikshvasva bharataha. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. It's Bhagavad Gita 2:14. The self-realized soul is never disturbed by so-called stress or happiness, and this is especially true of an exalted devotee like Vasudeva, who showed this by his practical example. Vasudeva was not at all disturbed when delivering his first child to Kaṁsa to be killed. Pratiyatu kumarayam nahyasmad asti me bhayam ashtamad yuvayor garbhan mrityur me vihita kila. O Vasudeva, you may take back your child and go home. I have no fear of your first child. It is the 8th child of you and Devaki I am concerned with, because that is the child by whom I am destined to be killed. Tateti sutamadaya yayav anakadunduvi nabhyanandatadvakyam asato vijitatmana. Vasudeva agreed and took his child back home. But because Kaṁsa had no character and no self-control, Vasudeva knew that he could not rely on Kaṁsa's word. Nandadyaye vraje gopa yaschamisham chayoshita vrishnayo vasudevadya devakyadhyas yadustriya ubayorapi bharata gyatayo bandhu suhrido ye cha Kaṁsam anuvrataha. Oops. Sorry, I forgot to do this. Sarve vaya devata praya ubayorapi bharata gyatayo bandhu suhrido ye cha Kaṁsam anuvrata. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, and including his associate cowherdmen and their wives, were none but the denizens of the heavenly planets, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the descendants of Bharata. And so too were the descendants of the Vrishni dynasty, headed by Vasudeva and Devaki and the other women of the dynasty of Yadu. The friends, relatives, and well-wishers of both Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, and even those who externally appeared to be followers of Kaṁsa, were all demigods. Purport. As previously discussed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu informed Lord Brahma that Lord Krishna would personally descend to mitigate the suffering on earth. The Lord ordered all the denizens of the heavenly planets to take birth in different families of the Yadu and Vrishni dynasties and in Vrindavan. Now, this verse informs us that all the family and friends of the Yadu dynasty, the Vrishni dynasty, Nanda Maharaj, and the Gopas descended from the heavenly planets to see the pastimes of the Lord. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, the Lord's pastimes consist of paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam, saving the devotees and killing the demons. To demonstrate these activities, the Lord called for devotees from different parts of the universe. There are many devotees who are elevated to the higher planetary systems. prapya punya kritam lokam ushitva shashvati sama shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga bhrashto bhijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people, or into a family of rich aristocracy. I always get this word wrong. Is it aristocracy or aristocracy? Aristocracy, I think, right? Yeah, aristocracy. Bhagavad Gita 6.4.1. Some devotees having failed to complete the process of devotional service are promoted to the heavenly planets to which the pious are elevated. And after enjoying they may be directly promoted to the place where the Lord's pastimes are going on. When Lord Krishna was to appear, the denizens of the heavenly planets were invited to see the pastimes of the Lord. And thus it is stated here that the members of the Yadu and Vrishni dynasties and the inhabitants of Vrindavan were demigods, or almost as good as demigods. Even though externally helps the activities of Kaṁsa belongs to the higher planetary systems. The imprisonment and release of Vasudeva and the killing of various demons were all manifestations of the pastimes of the Lord. And because the devotees would be pleased to see these activities personally, they were all invited to take birth as friends and relatives of these families. As confirmed in the prayers of Kunti, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.8.19, Nato natya dharo yata. The Lord was to play the part of a demon killer and of friends, son and brother to his devotees. And thus these devotees were all summoned. Etat Kaṁsaya Bhagavan Chashangsa Nārada Bhumer Bharayamananam Daityanam Chavadodyanam. Once the great saint Nārada approached Kaṁsa and informed him of how the demoniac persons who were a great burden on the earth were going to be killed. Thus Kaṁsa was placed into great fear and doubt. Purport. It has already been discussed that Mother Earth implored Lord Brahma to give her relief from the distress created by the burdensome demons, and that Lord Brahma informed her that Lord Krishna himself was going to appear. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there is a burden created by the demons, and whenever the innocent devotees are distressed by demoniac rulers, the Lord appears in due course of time to kill the demons with the assistance of his real representatives, who are technically called demigods. In the Upanishads, it is stated that the demigods are different parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is the duty of the parts of the body to serve the whole, it is the duty of Krishna's devotees to serve Krishna as he wants. Krishna's business is to kill the demons, and therefore this should be a devotee's business also. Because the people of Kali Yuga are fallen, however, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of kindness for them, did not bring any weapon to kill them. Rather, by spreading Krishna consciousness, love of Krishna, he wanted to kill their nefarious demoniac activities. This is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. Unless the demoniac activities on the surface of the world are diminished or vanquished, no one can be happy. The program for the conditioned soul is fully described in Bhagavad Gita, and one simply has to follow these instructions to become happy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore prescribed Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyata. Let people chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly. Their demoniac tendencies will be killed, and they will become first-class devotees, happy in this life and in the next. Risher vinir kame Kaṁso yadun matva suraniti devakya garbha sambhutam vishnum cha svavadam prati devaking vasudevang cha nigrihya nigadar grihe jatam aham putram tayor arjana shankaya. How come it's not letting me scroll? What's going on there? Okay. After the departure of the great Saint Narad, Kaṁsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kaṁsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles. Suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu, Kaṁsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his notes on this verse, has mentioned how Nārada Muni gave Kaṁsa this information. This incident is described in the Hari Vangsha. Nārada Muni Kaṁsa by providence, and Kaṁsa received him very well. Nārada, therefore, informed him that any one of the sons of Devaki might be Vishnu. Because Vishnu was to kill him, Kaṁsa should not spare any of Devaki's children, Nārada Muni advised. Narada's intention was that Kaṁsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. Upon receiving the instructions of Nārada Muni, Kaṁsa killed all the children of Devaki one after another. The word Ajana Shankaya indicates that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, Ajana, and that he therefore appears as Krishna, taking birth just like a human being. Manusham tanum ashritam. Kaṁsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva, although he knew that if Vishnu were born, he would not be killed. Actually, it came to pass that when Vishnu appeared as Krishna, Kaṁsa could not kill him. Rather, as foretold, it was he who killed Kaṁsa. One should know in truth Krishna, who takes his birth transcendentally, acts to kill the demons, but is never killed. When one perfectly understands Krishna in this way, through the medium of Shastra, one becomes immortal. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4:9, Janma karma chame divyam devang yo veti tattvata takta deham punar janma naiti mam eti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Mataram pitarang bhratrin sarvangscha suhridastata gnanti hyasu tripo lubdha rajana prayasho bhuvi. Kings greedy for sense gratification on this earth almost kill their enemies indiscriminately. To satisfy their own whims, they may kill anyone, even their mothers, fathers, brothers, or friends. Purport. We have seen in the history of India that Aurangzeb killed brother and nephews and imprisoned his father to fulfill political ambitions. There have been many similar instances, and Kaṁsa was the same type of king. Kaṁsa did not hesitate to kill his nephews and imprison his sister and his father. For demons to do such things is not astonishing. Nonetheless, although Kaṁsa was a demon, he was aware that Lord Vishnu cannot be killed, and thus he attained salvation. Even partial understanding of the activities of Lord Vishnu makes one eligible for salvation. Kaṁsa knew a little bit about Krishna, that he could not be killed, and therefore he attained salvation although he thought of Vishnu Krishna as an enemy. What then is to be said of one who knows Krishna perfectly from the descriptions of Shastras like Bhagavad Gita? It is therefore everyone to read Bhagavad Gita and understand Krishna perfectly. This will make one's life successful. Atmanam iha sanjatam janan prag vishnuna hatam mahasurang kala neming yadubisa vyarudata. In his previous birth, Kaṁsa had been a great demon named Kalanemi, who had been killed by Vishnu. Upon hearing this information from Narada, Kaṁsa became envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty. Purport. Persons who are demons, enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are called asuras. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the asuras, because of their enmity toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, take birth after birth in asura families, and therefore glide down to the darkest hellish regions. Ugrasenam chapitaram yadubhojantakabdipam swayam nigrihya bhuje shurasena mahabala. Kaṁsa, the most powerful son of Ugrasen, even imprisoned his own father, the king of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasties, and personally ruled the states known as Shurasen. Purport. The state known as Mathura was also included within the states known as Shurasen. All right, so tomorrow we will read this additional notes for this chapter, which is quite long. It's like 5,000 words. So tomorrow we'll spend the whole day just reading. We'll spend our reading just reading these additional notes from Srila Prabhupada. All right. Okay, RC. Thanks for Manjari Didi. I know. Seriously. It's funny that Kaṁsa didn't believe. How did it get James from Kaṁsa? That's so funny. It's funny that Kaṁsa didn't believe Vasudeva's advice or philosophy, but did believe in his character, word, and personal trustworthiness. Yeah. So it's kind of yes, that is correct. Manjari Didi. Yes. Yeah, poor Devaki. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Kagiri Dhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Srila Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Rashata Shishmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Sharda Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Naam Acharya Shri Hari Ras Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sorry guys. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Braja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Vasudeva Devaki ki jai, Shri Narad Rishi ki jai, Shri Grantaraj Shri Shukadev Goswami ki jai, Shri Parikshit Maharaj ki jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Hari Bol, everybody. See you all tomorrow. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Hari Bol. Oh, and Hari Bol Prajumna Prabhu and Mantra Murti Mataji.